The following presentation is brought to you by Volvo Cars of North America, Volvo for Life, by the National Safety Council, the National Association of Police Organizations, and the National Sheriff's Association. This is Drive for Life, the National Safe Driving Test. Here now your host, Chris Myers.
Welcome to Drive for Life 2005. This safe driving initiative, now in its third year, thanks to the generous support of Volvo Cars of North America, continues to offer valuable life-saving tips to make us all better drivers. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. Traffic continues to grow, and the latest Drive for Life opinion poll indicates it's more aggravating than ever before. All the more reason to be aware of hazards and distractions and how to effectively deal with them.
It's a national way of life. More and more cars with more and more drivers spending more and more time behind the wheel. We're the world's #1 motorized society, and the numbers of cars and trucks on the nation's highways continue to grow by the thousands every year. That spells risk, and sure enough, ask anyone behind the wheel, and you're likely to hear them say driving today is more dangerous and aggravating than it was just 2 years ago. The Drive for Life survey asked them why, and more than 60% pointed their finger at other drivers' behavior. More than traffic delays, road conditions, and their own personal stress combined.
Roads don't belong to any of us in particular, but they belong to all of us, and therefore it's our responsibility to make sure that we take care of our neighbors as well as ourselves and our passengers.
Even so, we continue to allow ourselves to be increasingly distracted while we're out on the road. When Drive for Life asked about the most aggravating behavior in other drivers, cell phones topped the list, followed by tailgating, both serious and dangerous distractions.
We can engineer safer cars and even smarter cars, but there is no substitute for drivers who are focused on safety and who pay attention to the road ahead.
When choosing a car, 40% of those surveyed listed safety as the most important feature. And yet, in just the past 6 months, more than a third admitted to allowing hostility and emotional upset to take control while driving. Another third admitted to driving while drowsy. Nearly 65% admit to speeding. And yet another third recall coasting through a stop sign or running a red light.
The call is out for safer vehicles and more responsible drivers. Urging us all to take a closer look at what we often take for granted is Kristen Varela, who's managed to take a common driving frustration and turn it into a national educational forum, addressing the needs and concerns of driving moms.
I needed a new car to fit the growing demands of my family. So in shopping for new cars, I quickly discovered there was a lack of information out there that was pertinent to me in my everyday life as a mom. I started Motherproof as a way for women and mother to gain practical and entertaining information about cars in an easy and unintimidating format. I really wanted to know how well car seats fit and how functional they are to load kids and groceries in and out of. These test cars become my family car. My kids are loaded up in the back in their car seats, and we drive to preschool, library for the story time, grocery store, and girls' night out. Women spend $83 billion a year on cars, and that accounts for the majority of automotive consumers. They actually buy 52.5% of all cars, and mothers in particular spend most of their day in the car, driving to school and to the grocery store, to work, running all the household errands, all those places that we go. The car is really the center of our day. So it's particularly important for moms to find a car that's functional in their everyday life. As a mother driving, the most important thing to me is protecting my most precious asset. For instance, driving with infants, it's really important to find a vehicle that an infant seat will actually fit in and fit safely in. It can also be difficult to keep an infant quiet and calm in the car. So coming up with ways to manage that and limit that distraction factor is really important for safe driving. Toddlers, boy, they make a game out of dropping things in the car for the parents to pick up. The best way to deal with those is to stay cool and calm as the driver. Your tone sets the tone for the rest of the car. Parents can really involve their children in the car trip with letter games and word games, looking at signs, looking for landmarks, and helping the parents navigate. Overall, it's really important to prepare in advance to limit the distraction of children in the car. If you can take a couple extra minutes to get snacks prepared, bring a drink in the car, get a little go bag with some activities for the kids, let them pick out their music ahead of time so that you're not fumbling with all those aspects when you're actually driving.
The Drive for Life Safe Driving Initiative, which includes the National Safe Driving Test, is designed to be challenging, fun, and most importantly, informative. Most of us haven't been retested since we got our license as a teenager, and a lot has changed. So before we get started, here's a sample question for you.
True or false? You should set your tire pressure to the pressure listed on the side of your tire. The correct answer is false. You should fill your tires to the pressure recommended by your car manufacturer, typically found on the inside of the driver's door frame or doorpost, or in the owner's manual. The recommended pounds per square inch, or PSI, can also be found on the inside of the glove box door or trunk lid.
We'll return with a National Safe Driving Test and quite possibly some questions you've never even thought about. Get ready. We'll be back in just a moment.
Just ahead, how Abe Lincoln can help you become a little safer out there on the highway. This is Drive for Life, the National Safe Driving Test, brought to you by Volvo Cars of North America and the National Safety Council.
Yeah! Check it out now. Check it out now.
You think about the things people do to pursue their passion.
Check it out now. Check it out now.
And how far they can go when they're confident in their equipment. You think about that, then you build cars with legendary Volvo safety to help fuel the human spirit.
It was a thrilling ride.
The Volvo S40 Sport Sedan and V50 Activity Sports Wagon.
You'll always forgive your kids no matter what. But you'll have a harder time forgiving yourself if they're not properly buckled up in a crash. Help keep your family safe on the road. Please, make sure everyone in your car is buckled up, and kids 12 and under are in the back, no matter what.
You're taking the National Safe Driving Test, and when you're finished, you should head over to driveforlife.com. There you'll find a wealth of additional information, and you can enter online to win a 2005 Volvo S40. Time to do something good for yourself. So finish taking the test, then go online at driveforlife.com. Enter for a chance to win a 2005 Volvo S40. It's driveforlife.com, and it's all there for you.
There is so much we do to protect our little angels. But today, 8 out of 10 child safety seats are used incorrectly. Please make sure you're using the right safety seat for your child, installed properly in the back seat.
New Hampshire has the lowest seatbelt usage in the United States, while Hawaii has the highest. We now return to the National Safe Driving Test.
Welcome back. Think you know a lot about driving? If so, you'll probably do quite well on the National Safe Driving Test, but you might be in for a surprise. Let's get started.
Question 1. Is a hands-free accessory really safer when using a regular cell phone while driving? A. Yes, it's safer. B. Yes, but only for short calls. C. No, it makes no difference. D. Yes, but only if a speakerphone is used. The answer is C. It makes no difference, but using hands-free devices could be more dangerous if people believe they're safer and make more calls. Available research indicates whether hands-free or handheld, the cell phone's distraction is significant enough to lower a driver's performance.
As if people
sort of had to control their mental volume knobs and allow the relevant sources of information to come in, but by shifting away from vision, even though they're looking straight at the visual information, they don't process it as deeply, they respond to it more slowly, and they're not as aware of what's happening visually. Even if you're driving on a bright sunny day looking out the windshield, you will be impaired in your ability to respond to changing traffic conditions.
Question 2. When is it safe to move a child from a child safety seat to a regular safety belt? A. When the child is 4 years old and can buckle a safety belt on their own. B. Never. C. When the child weighs at least 40 pounds. D. When the child reaches 4 feet tall and can see out of the car window. B is correct. Never. Children who have outgrown child safety seats should be properly restrained in booster seats until they are at least 8 years old or until they are at least 4 foot 9 inches tall.
All young children are anxious to get out of a booster seat. As a parent, it's your job to make sure they stay in it until they're at the appropriate size.
Question 3. You're driving through a construction zone with a posted speed limit. The speed limit applies only when A. Workers are present. B. Signs are permanently displayed. C. Police are patrolling the scene. D. At all times. The answer is D. At all times. Even though construction workers and police might not be present, the changes confronting you in a construction zone are enough to warrant slowing down to the posted limit. Question 4. To drive safely on snow and ice, you should do all of the following except A. Decrease your speed and leave plenty of space to stop. B. Brake gently to avoid skidding. C. Pass the snowplow so you can get a better view of the road. D. Use low gears to keep traction, especially on hills. The answer is C. In fact, one of the safest places on a snowy and icy road is behind a snowplow, provided you follow at a safe distance. Passing creates one of the most dangerous situations presented by wintry weather.
After having the opportunity to drive on the Volvo ice test tracks in Finland, I've come to realize that it's really important to get a feel for how your car handles in the snow. If given the opportunity, take your car to an empty parking lot and test it out. Feel how it reacts in icy conditions.
Question 5. According to several opinion polls, what's the most frequent distraction drivers admit to while on the road? A. Cell phone calls. B. Eating. C. Reading. D. Romance. The answer is B. Recent polls indicate that more than 50% of all drivers admit to eating while driving. Cell phone use is second. Reading comes in at a disturbing 17%, and romantic distractions account for up to 10% of all detours from safe driving.
And the distractions continue to increase. Rapidly evolving technology now allows a driver to do everything on the road, from getting detailed directions through global positioning satellites and on-screen road maps to finding restaurant reviews and booking reservations, not to mention the explosion in DVD players and multitasking cell phones.
The pace at which driving technology is developing is both exciting and mind-boggling. It all comes back to the absolute need for personal responsibility and total awareness behind the wheel. Keep your pencils ready. We'll be back in a moment with the second half of the National Safe Driving Test.
If you're not certain how well your tires are holding up, use a penny to test the depth of the tire tread. If Abe Lincoln's head can be fully seen, your tires are wearing dangerously thin and need to be replaced. This is Drive for Life, the National Safe Driving Test.
You think about the things people do to pursue their passion and how far they can go when they're confident in their equipment. You think about that. Then you build the only SUV with legendary Volvo safety. The Volvo XC90.
He gets so big and becoming such a big man.
parents do a lot to protect kids.
I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm ready.
One of the most important things is to make sure they're properly buckled up in the back seat. Even with today's advanced airbags, it's the safest place for kids 12 and under. Please, help keep your family safe on the road. Kids in the back buckled up, every time.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running.
It takes power to explore new worlds and confidence in your equipment to get you there. Introducing the new 311 horsepower, 7-passenger Volvo XC90 V8. The only SUV with the added power of legendary Volvo safety.
You're taking the National Safe Driving Test, and when you're finished, you should head over to driveforlife.com. There you'll find a wealth of additional information, and you can enter online to win a 2005 Volvo S40. Time to do something good for yourself. So finish taking the test, then go online at driveforlife.com. Enter for a chance to win a 2005 Volvo S40. It's driveforlife.com, and it's all there for you. The latest Drive for Life national opinion poll found most people believe every driver should be retested at least every 10 years. We return now to the National Safe Driving Test and your host, Chris Myers.
Are you enjoying finding out just how much you already know about safe driving and maybe how much you don't know? Truth is, we can all stand to review our driving habits and in the process learn something new. Get ready for the second half of the National Safe Driving Test.
Question 6. Congestion seems to be a way of life, no matter where you live. How many hours each year does the average American waste sitting in traffic? A. 47 hours. B. 24 hours. C. 10 hours. D. 79 hours. According to Texas A&M University and the Texas Transportation Institute, the answer is A. The average American spends 47 hours per year sitting in traffic. That, of course, is an average. If you live in a major metropolis, you waste more than 60 hours. Nationally, that's 3.7 billion hours per year and 2.3 billion gallons of wasted gas. Total cost? About $63.1 billion.
Traffic is inevitable. How you deal with it is your choice. Patience is a virtue. Take this opportunity to teach it to your children.
Question 7. When are teenage drivers most at risk? A. On weekend nights. B. In a car with 3 or more friends. C. During the summer months. D. When speeding. All of the circumstances greatly increase the likelihood of a crash, but riding in a car with 3 or more occupants is the most dangerous. The answer is B. According to a recent Johns Hopkins University study, the crash rate is 4 times higher when there are 3 or more passengers than when the teen is driving alone.
The new teen drivers, they don't have the experience nor the maturity at this age to really have a good sense of judgment in driving. Also, the brain isn't fully developed at this age. They're still kids, and I think people forget that, they're still children.
Question 8. While driving in heavy fog, you should A. Stay to the right of the roadway. B. Turn on your headlights day or night to low beam. C. Turn on your emergency flashers. D. All of the above. The answer is D. All of the above. Remember to keep your low beams on while driving in any foggy situation. High beams will reflect back off the fog and cut your visibility even further. Question 9. How often should you check your vehicle's tire pressure? A. Once a week. B. At least once a month. C. Every 6 months. D. When the oil's changed. The correct answer is B. Tires naturally lose air over time, so it's important to check all tires, including the spare, at least once a month. For an accurate reading, measure tire pressure when the tires are cold, meaning the vehicle hasn't been driven for at least 3 hours.
every month, and certainly every time the weather changes from cold to hot or from hot to cold, you need to check your tire pressure.
And finally, question 10. What percentage of child safety seats are misused or installed improperly? A, between 10 and 25%. B, between 35 and 50%. C, more than 95%. D, between 70 and 90%. The correct answer is D. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's 2004 study on the misuse of child restraints for children under 80 pounds was slightly more than 72%, although other studies have placed the number as high as 90%. Either number is disturbing.
A parent came in and the car seat was rolling around the back of the car, and they stated that it was having a hard time keeping it straight, and they actually never had the car seat actually attached to the car.
Every car seat is different and every car seat is installed differently. It's easy to get it wrong, so get help.
It's important to have a good car seat, one that's preferably new, has no twists or tears in the harness itself. We're going to turn it over and we're going to actually install it. We're going to use the latch system here.
Harness buckled.
I've checked hundreds of different cars and different car seats, and they're all a little bit different, so it's really important to have a professional take a look at your car. From here, we're going to move it from side to side. You don't want the car seat moving more than an inch from either way. We always tell the parents that once they actually have their child in there, that these belts should not be loose. They should be nice and tight. You shouldn't be able to get your finger right in between there. They should be nice and snug, but not so snug that it's actually pushing your child down in the seat.
And there you have it, 10 questions focusing on issues affecting all of us. Don't feel bad if you miss more than a couple. It's always better to make your mistakes off the road and then learn from them. Learning on the job is a good thing, but learning behind the wheel may not give you a second chance if you make a mistake. When we return, some final thoughts for everyone, especially those of you just beginning to drive.
According to a 2004 survey based on crash report data, residents of Cedar Rapids, Iowa rank as the safest drivers in the United States. Rounding out the top 5 is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Huntsville, Alabama, and Knoxville, Tennessee. This is the National Safe Driving Test.
Yeah! Take it up now. Take it up now.
You think about the things people do to pursue their passion.
Take it up now. Take it up now.
And how far they can go when they're confident in their equipment. You think about that, then you build cars with legendary Volvo safety to help fuel the human spirit.
It was a thrilling ride.
The Volvo S40 Sport Sedan and V50 Activity Sports Wagon. It's amazing what people can do when they're confident in their equipment. You think about that. Then you build a range of turbocharged performance sedans with legendary Volvo safety. The 2005 Volvo S60s.
You're taking the National Safe Driving Test, and when you're finished, you should head over to driveforlife.com. There you'll find a wealth of additional information, and you can enter online to win a 2005 Volvo S40. Time to do something good for yourself. So finish taking the test, then go online at driveforlife.com. Enter for a chance to win a 2005 Volvo S40. It's driveforlife.com, and it's all there for you.
I remember walking away from the car feeling we could have died.
The car actually went end over end, finally stopping on its top.
You feel the car being thrown around, and you just wait for that final moment.
The police officer said to me, "This car saved your life." I said, "I know it didn't."
Volvo, a history of building life.
35% of all drivers admit to driving while emotionally upset. 16% say they drive aggressively when they're late. We now return to Drive for Life, the National Safe Driving Test, brought to you by Volvo Cars of North America. Volvo for life.
Welcome back. One of the more startling statistics we've heard during the past few years involves young drivers. Those between the ages of 16 and 20, highway crashes are the #1 cause of death for that age group.
As a result, a growing number of states, 8 at last count, now restrict cell phone use by teen drivers. And at least one, New Jersey, bans cell phone use entirely for drivers under 21. Similar legislation is pending or being discussed in dozens of other states.
Ryan knows all about the dangers facing teen drivers. Several years ago, just months after getting his license, he was driving with friends, lost control, and crashed. He ended up paralyzed. One of his friends was killed.
That was really hard, just, dealing with the fact that, he was gone, and that was it, and, I was pretty much responsible for that.
For every parent, there are times in our children's lives that we remember forever. The first word, the first day at school, the first sleepover, and later on in life, the driver's permit. Teaching a teenager to drive can be a long process, up to 2 years even. It starts out with constant supervision, and it gradually lessens until they're able to drive effectively and safely on their own. Start your teenager driving in a parking lot with the basic skills. Slowly increase their degree of difficulty on neighborhood streets, and eventually let them out on the freeway. As the parent of a new teen driver, it's easy to look at that person as an asset to the family. Families look forward to having someone to help run errands and pick up the younger siblings. This can be quite a liability, however. Giving too much responsibility to a new driver off the bat is dangerous for that teenager, as well as the siblings in the car and the general public. Parents, here are a few things that you need to ingrain in your teenage driver. Seat belts, the easiest way to keep a dangerous accident from turning into a fatality. Drinking and driving. The best way to keep your kids from drinking and driving is to be an example yourself. Friends in the car. It's up to you to limit the number of passengers in your teenager's car. Other distractions like high-tech toys. You didn't have to deal with them when you were learning to drive, but teach your kids that it's never okay to text message while they're driving. And finally, teach your kids that driving is a privilege, not a right.
Remember, when you're on the road, driving should be your only job, your only focus. Don't let anything distract you from it. If each of us pays close attention to what we're doing on the highway, we improve the safety level for all of us. Personal responsibility and education are the keys, which is why the National Safe Driving Test is distributed to driver education programs throughout the entire United States. There's a lot more information and helpful hints on our website, driveforlife.com. I'm Chris Myers for Kristen Varela and all of us at Drive for Life. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be safe and make sure every drive you take is a drive for life.